because the app version kind of gets super laggy and sucks. So I guess I have to switch between the Discord app when I actually want to do a call in Discord. I don't know. Kind of weird. But yeah. Hey guys.
GM.
Good morning.
Yeah, the
No more.
Discord browser is where it's at, by the way. It's so nice. Good performance compared to the app, I guess.
Really? Okay. I mean, this
Yeah.
is
It's
a
a life
interesting
changer.
insight.
It's like I would go into like the announcements channel here in our server, and it gets like super laggy. So that doesn't happen when you use the browser one. Yeah, it's crazy. The app just like has horrible performance.
Andy
But
Tudor also
apparently,
chipping in saying, yeah, same.
yeah,
He as well. Yeah.
but apparently you can't talk on the stage in the browser version for some reason. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out.
Oh,
Be a
real
little bit
quickly,
of alpha there.
you can now talk on Twitter Spaces via desktop, so that changes
Oh,
everything.
nice.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
it's so much better. We should be able, Cafe, because we've talked about doing live streams and Twitter Spaces at the same time. There's no reason that we couldn't technically pipe this audio into a Twitter Space while we do these hangouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, that would be good. I mean, it would be even better if we could have some kind of two-way communication, but I don't think we're there yet. That's like you'd be able to stream from here to the Twitter space, but we wouldn't be able to engage with somebody in the Twitter space, right? Trying to, um, you know, do the Discord thing.
Real quickly, I want to say shout out to Maxi Crouton because I see he's rocking his new PFP, that like 89,000 Ghost Gotchi that he bought recently. It looks great.
Hell yeah. Is that is that the number one Gotchi now on the leaderboard?
I think Artemis is still number one. I remember that being the
Yeah.
number one in the bazaar. That was the godlike. I think it was called godlike previously, and it came with all those godlike wearables. So
Fourth
it'll
place.
slap in the arena. We know that.
Yeah. Congrats to Maxi. Yep. So we got Czar, Artemis, Diamond Eyes, and Maxi Crouton. Number 4. Very cool.
Yeah, we should talk about that Gotchi that got sold this week for, what was it, 90,000 Ghosts?
Well, that's this one.
Yeah,
That's I guess that's Maxi Crouton changed the name of that one to Maxi Crouton.
That was a good deal. Yeah, we were looking at how much that guy earns in rarity farming season, and it looks like, it will pay for itself over time.
Oh, hardcore. Devil Dan is number 1. That looks like a different leaderboard, sir, but looks like a good one. That is from Gotchi Heroes, right?
Yeah, looks like it.
Free packs opened 2. Nice.
Right here. Wow. So sold to Maxi Crouton, is that right? Or did Maxi Crouton sell this? Okay, got you.
He bought
Nice.
it. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome.
I'm here in the U.S. with my parents. I was talking to my dad about Gotchi and told him about this Gotchi. He's like, "What do you mean someone spent $90,000 on a digital like he doesn't know what NFTs are." So he says, "What does he get?" He's like,
What does he get?
well,
You're looking at it.
so then I have to go into like the blockchain and explain all that. But I think he got it a little bit. I was like, these are all godlike wearables except for the diamond. It's like there are 6 rarity types, so it's pretty kitted out Gotchi. He's like, okay,
Yeah, my parents
they're
had to use the Tamagotchi concept to kind of loop it through, like get it through. They're like, oh, so it's like a Tamagotchi but on your computer. I'm like, yes, but also with crypto. And they're like, oh, okay. That was the little leap that they had to take. But
Yeah, Mikey J. Coder Dad definitely knows Aavegotchi, but the man is like, screw it, I'm gonna make my own. So I'm gonna have some updates for you guys next week on the IRL wooden gotchi
Artesia Gotchi,
made
right?
made by Coder Dad.
Coder Dad.
Thank you, Mikey J, for coining that. That's a much better name than Coder Dan's dad. Oh, FaZe coined it. Nice. Thank you, sir. And yeah, Andy, I've tried to explain many times, but he does follow Ghost on CoinMarketCap. He'll message me and be like, "Hey, Ghost is doing well."
That's awesome. I mean, that could be his next work, right? The Artesia Ghost Coin. That would be kind of neat, actually.
Bro, you guys, this Aavegotchi it's insane. It's gonna be, he's going all out with it. It's really cool.
Which collateral did he go with?
He's
classic?
doing he's gonna do the farmer. They're all Ethereum right now, so we haven't ventured into new collaterals yet.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
he's starting with the farmer gotchi.
Nice.
I'm gonna do a whole work in progress tweet thread next week. So I don't have that ready today, but it'll be coming out next week. It's lit. It's so good.
Oh man, that's exciting. So apparently there's
All right,
a
guys,
running
let's,
list of Coder Dad names.
Yeah,
Or
where is
Dad's
this?
list.
Where is this list?
Choina, you got the list.
Yeah, trying to just added Silent Dan to the list today at the start of this Discord meeting.
We've already added 2. We got Coder Dad and Silent Dad.
Off to a good start.
I mean, Coder Dan, how did you end up with so many nicknames and Golden Cross has one? He still kept his OG original nickname, and we've come this far.
Because Dan is just infinitely memeable.
It is.
I like to say every good crypto project has a Dan somewhere in the team, usually in leadership somehow.
Yeah.
If you look at all the awesome or popular crypto projects, there's usually a Dan in there. You guys have a Don. Okay, good, close.
Close enough.
That's funny. Well, let's see. Where do you guys want to get started here? We had big dev blog dropped. I'm pumped to talk about some of the alpha. Has everyone read the blog or seen, at least watched some of the videos?
Yeah, and shout out to Andy Tudor. He put out a really cool tweet thread too, kind of summarizing everything as well. See if I can drop
Did he?
it here.
Did I miss that?
Yeah, I'll drop it here. He did a really good job with it, actually. Oh,
Yeah, I'll say the arena fight video was dope. Like I showed that to my normie girlfriend, and she's like, "This looks cool." I'm like, "Yeah, we're gonna be." She loved also the I know we'll talk about it in a second, but the merch. I'm assuming that's merch. The toys that you have captive on your on your X account that you posted. I was, we were talking about Pudgy Penguins, and I was like, "Look at this," and she's like, "This looks cute," and I'm like, "That's the whole premise. The IP is cute. Like this is all you need. Like if you market this correctly, it's great. Like so, it definitely looks cool." And that first person shooter perspective that we saw for the game looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was mistaken actually. It was an Aavegotchi tweet. You guys killed it. That was a retweet that I caught on. I was like, oh yeah, that was.
Oh.
Yeah. No, really well done tweet thread there, and got a lot of information from that.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Zbot for he's the mastermind behind these 3D IRLs. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zbot, but these are 3D created with like a 3D printer, and then are they I think they're hand painted, or at least a portion of them is. I'm not sure which, maybe the eyes and stuff but he would know better than I. But I finally received them. And
Wow.
I was just like, oh my god, these are so cool. Yeah. Are they completely hand painted, or like the hat, for example, of the farmer? That's not hand painted, is it? All hand painted. Oh wow. So yeah, these are super dope. The quality is amazing, and this was a kind of a prototype that he's been working on for a long time. That once we have more of the 3D models, we will be able to basically take these and theoretically create any gotchi that we want.
Oh man, I just got an idea. Is anyone familiar with Warhammer? Like those
Yeah,
little, they're
yeah.
like
Oh
little
yeah.
plastic, like they're little. It's a game, but the little figures, they're blank plastic pieces, and you actually have to go like paint them yourself and kind of trick
Yep.
them out, right? And then they have little attachments and stuff too for like the weapons. And I could imagine like a gotchi Warhammer style thing where you get these little blank gotchis, and you gotta
Mm.
paint them and add the little hat and add your little wearables to it and stuff. Like that would be really cool. Um, just like just a thought I just had. So
That's a good thing. Yeah, because like the painting is probably one of the most labor intensive parts of it
but
if it is all hand painted. So we could like ship you the 3D model with all it would have all the wearables on it that you wanted, and then ship you the paint. And if you wanted it, you could paint it yourself.
yeah,
You get some pretty cool gotchis out of that, I think.
I think it'd be pretty cool. Yeah, level of customization there.
I was thinking for the wearables
Yeah,
because
40K.
yeah, Zbot says like potato head gotchi. It's almost like potato head, but we have some really small pieces that would be hard to do as like a slot on a like a potato Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Potato Head. But what we could maybe do is have the whole gotchi would be like magnetized, and the pieces would have magnets on them. So it would be, so you could basically clip on the piece wherever you wanted it. So it'd be if it was a hand piece, it would be you know it'd be up to you to put it in the right place. But magnets could be kind of a cooler way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Or just the gotchi is huge and there's slots everywhere. But I think magnets would be a pretty
Mm-hmm.
good way to do it.
Yeah, magnets for sure. Very cool. So are these going to be available, these specific toys for like public purchase, or are these more like bespoke pieces?
These are like prototypes that Zbot worked on, but I mean the goal is definitely to have these available as real things that are on the gotchi shop, or potentially we get these into retailers one day.
Oh man, that's really awesome.
Yeah, I want to see that. I was talking to my girlfriend about it because she's like a big Squishmallows fan. And I was explaining, I was like, oh, yeah, Pudgy Penguins, they have a toy in Five Below, and she's a Five Below addict. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's an NFT brand and, with a strong IP. So I was like, this should be in a Five Below eventually.
Hmm. I don't think we have any Five Belows up here, but that's like a hobby shop kind of thing.
I've never heard of that, but
It's
now I'm
like a
looking at it.
fancier, like in New York, they would be like 99-cent stores, but this is like
Hmm.
everything in the store is like $5 and below, but it's like
Oh, okay.
it's nicer looking, fancier, like
Hmm.
a toy shop slash like it's mostly toys in there, but they have other stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, we got some Five Below fans in the audience there. Tommy Gotchi says exactly 5 times better than the dollar store.
Yeah, I mean the dream would be to have like you get your gotchi and there's a button you can say send me a physical, and it just sends it to you with a customized one. Now that'd probably be tricky to figure out how to do that, but that's kind of one aspiration, and then just having like more generic ones in the stores would be super fun. So Jason and Zbot are on it, friends.
Yeah, I think that's also why, like the connection that Lost Local has made with the Cryptoon Goons has been so important because they have been doing IRL stuff like merch for a while. They actually had their gear, their shirts and stuff at Urban Outfitter. Like they had a collection there. So it's like it's good to see brands doing that in Web3, and I think we can definitely do it.
Yeah, speaking of merch, we do have, and speaking of physicals, there is currently there are a couple more spots left for the $100 merch promotion that's going on right now. We talked about it on the last week's Hangout, and I think there are still a few spots left. Maybe Jason knows exactly how many. So if you go to store.aavegotchi.com and order more than $100 of merch, you're going to get the prologue of Margin's Blade, which is the comic book that we're working on. You'll get the prologue version, physical copy of that. And speaking of Margin's Blade, I think it's also, we should have some updates on that coming during this Hangout. So let me drop the store link here. I don't know exactly how many copies. Probably about, I would say, less than half are left. So we're moving at them, moving through these at a pretty good clip. But yeah, here's the store, and then let's see. I don't know if we have any updates from the VoiceMe team yet, but Margin's Blade should be going live on VoiceMe during this Hangout. So let me ping them. Maybe I see Nigel on the call. Maybe we can ping them and see their timeline here. But we're going to get the digital version of Margin's Blade going live. Maybe it's already there.
Zbot says 10 a.m. Eastern, says the tweet. Voice me folks in the audience, you think, today?
I don't
Did they
see
hang out
Lotus
with
in
the
here
Gotchi
yet.
gang? Yeah,
They might be doing some. Yeah.
I was gonna say, I see Friendless Summer in the chat. Welcome back. See some other good friends.
Yeah, we got a good show in here.
Good showing. Zbot dropped the tweet. Coder Dan, you're thinking we do a live reading if this goes live?
Sure, yeah, wouldn't mind that at all. We did the first page last week.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you definitely got that voice for that sort of thing.
Thank you, sir. Did anyone catch my impromptu spaces earlier this week? I was on this spaces with it was like a hooked protocol. Kind of fun. Little spaces, do those once in a while.
All I remember, because I missed it, but I saw in the chat that they were referring to you as Aavegotchi Dan or something like that.
Aavegotchi Dans, yeah. So funny. Yeah, I think I dropped some good alpha for their group there. About 400 people in the audience, it looked like. Let's see. We got a little bit of time here before we get to the other stuff. Does anyone want to come up and from the community and share anything that you're working on with everyone? Fakes or any games that you're working on, updates? I know we do have, we'll get to that in, probably more in the DAO call, the Oliver Spoon's his game. But yeah, got a little bit of time here if anyone wants to chat about what you're working on. Otherwise, I'm gonna jump into the Gotchiverse a little bit.
I'll join you in the Gotchiverse, but also an invite. Okay, I see Hardcore's put his hand up here. We have we also have Voltron Hackathon folks. Would love to hear from any of you
Sure.
if you're working on something interesting.
I don't know if Oliver Spoon is in the audience, but I'm showing his on my stream his tweet where it says "ante up" and it's
Oh.
the poker gif. So I just want to know: is this like in development? Are we getting a Gotchi poker game, or are you teasing me? Because like this looks so good.
I know that poker is something Golden Cross has been looking into. Exactly how to do it is one of the questions, I guess.
Right.
And what games do we want? Hold'em, but it's something he's actually seriously looking into.
Yeah, I wonder who put him up to that.
It's the Gotchi Mafia right there, slowly
Yeah.
infiltrating.
Now I have seen this picture, this ante up, in something else, another thing that's being worked on. I'm not sure. I do see Diddley in the audience. Is this something he wants to talk about at all?
Ooh.
Oh wow, Andy used to play poker professionally. Wow.
Feel free to come up, sir. Or share in the chat if you would like.
All right, that alpha will be unreleased this week, but coming soon.
Hey,
TBD.
yes. Speaking of coming soon in alpha, did you find those things in the attic that I asked you about?
Yeah, I think we're looking into it, and I think it should be possible.
Excellent.
Did you want to talk about that at all?
Well, yeah. So, well, we've been having trouble figuring out how to spice up the Alchemica competition because, well, we can't assign anyone to dev anything. Even the person who made the leaderboard is busy making a game. So, I was thinking back over the last year, and is there anything that we didn't give out yet, or any maybe one-of-one items that could be used as a prize? And if you remember, last year, maybe even like 15 months ago, they showed us the deco for the districts, and there was these statues in there. And well, it wouldn't be an item that goes. It doesn't go on your parcel, but you would get to pick which district it's going in. There's I mean, there's obviously these large sockets in the map where they go, but and
Well, it could actually go on. I think we're actually thinking it could go on the parcel. That would be the bigger flex, right?
I wasn't even asking for that much. I was just
okay.
I was going for just what I saw you already had working. But if you want to be awesome about it, actually, well, one thing I was asking for on top of that was that the Gotchi that wins it, their name goes on the bottom of the statue.
Right. So yeah, we could do either district or parcel.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, for the district too, there is once Yannick gets the guild update ready here, for that competition, there's those large shrubberies. Those could be prizes. There's all the street lights.
Yep.
It's already made. It's not messing with anybody. A voucher would suffice. I was also thinking there's a better for the next time. What I wanted to do was commission some fakes and do a GBM during the Alchemica competition, where the fakes get you a randomized multiplier if you have it installed on your parcel, so that there's a GBM aspect to the Alchemica competition, and all the ghosts from the GBM would be used to mark it by elk and burn it to create a nice little bonfire before we go into Unity Gotchiverse. Or maybe I'm crazy, but thanks for hearing me out.
So we talked about. So one thing was having a prize, like a big prize, maybe a 1-of-1 for the Alchemica spending competition for the top spender, and then some other maybe smaller prizes for, and there was something else. It was
The
Protolix.
I wanted to do an ongoing contest here for the Protolix, where it would just be whatever Dan thinks is a good end date for it, but it would be more than one competition. It would just be ongoing, and it would be for this guy. Oh wait.
Well,
No.
you let's not drop the. Okay, there. Go ahead.
Oh right. What happened
I
here?
think I think this is okay to drop, but that's not 100% confirmed yet, but we're looking at that as a possibility for sure.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh,
It
we
was,
got Andy Tudor
it was
here.
this guy. Well, because that thing's really big. Like in the 3D Gotchiverse, that's gonna be amazing. Like
That's like
that
yeah, that's
bezel
a
at the bottom, that's like a half a Gotchi tall, I think. So like if your name is on that bezel, that's a pretty badass prize, right?
yeah.
I mean, you could even do it where like, where the number one person's name is like embossed on a like the prominent spot, and then like, all around it is all the also rans.
Yeah, just remember that as we go to 3D, we're gonna have a different angle on all of this stuff. So you'll be kind of approaching it from street level, or probably, as you guys saw in the arena video, Gotchis are gonna be able to fly. So you might be able to perch right on top of that
Yeah.
liquidator's head.
Yeah, like what if we could figure out enough places to put names on it, like you do first place gets like huge name and like that it's officially that memorial, but then everywhere else we could fit them like down, we could have a tail going there where it's kind of like the Gotchi like first battle memorial.
Yeah. So the idea would be that that whoever kills the most licks in a period of time, whether it's during the competition or you were even thinking, let's extend it out until we actually have the official release of the arena, and that's when the competition would end.
Yeah,
And then
like,
whoever
put
is
it
on
in
the
the
top of the
center,
leaderboard would get
put it in
this
the center of the
epic
arena,
prize.
like it could be the yeah, well I don't know, whoever crafted the most of them, and then because they sponsored it basically.
Yeah, it sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine fighting around that thing too? Like it's perfect. It's so like all the angles on it. Like you could be shooting between the legs. Like you can get people getting stuck doing stupid stuff, and that's a F around and find out, right? Like, oh yeah, yeah, it's your fault if you get yourself stuck in the statue, but that's what you get for trying to hide in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it could be like a Trojan horse in a game. Like you could find maybe there is like a little spot where it's hard to see from certain angles, or I don't know. I'm really excited for the 3D thing because like there's so much more that could be done here.
Yeah, 3D, like Coder Dan was saying, is gonna add a whole new perspective to everything, and probably is gonna have a significant impact on gameplay. I was looking at one of your tweets there, showing some arena gameplay off, and like you say, the gotchis flying around, and it looked really cool. It almost seemed like there's a vibe of Unreal Tournament there, you know.
Yeah, here's the gameplay tweet. There was another one that was in the blog where the Gotchis they're just kind of flying around. I mean, there's a little bit of flying in this video too. But yeah, this is flying's gonna be a big part of it, in verticality, different levels. Andy's been having lots of fun planning all that and how that's gonna work. Yeah.
Very
But we're
cool.
trying to figure out right now, should be how much should a Gotchi be able to fly before it gets tired or it runs out of AP? That's the big question right now. Should they be able to fly forever, or they run out of AP quickly, or how long can they go without resting?
The
Are they
flight should be a different meter.
It should be like your floating power. So like your AP does dictate how much you can float, but maybe if you're efficient with it, like you're just kind of tapping your space bar, kind of floating along, you can kind of make it work. But if you're like holding it down, it'll drain a lot quicker, and you'll probably want to have a gotchi with higher AP.
I don't know. I was thinking it was more like yeah, more like jump jets where you've got a certain amount of power to launch yourself, and then the ghost is just kind of going. Like
Hmm.
I don't know, like ghosts in movies usually kind of can't seem to stop moving in the direction they're already going. Like I don't know, that kind of thing really helps make the game less laggy too, because then all of your things that are in flight, like well, the game knows how much there's not as much that can happen once you take off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and it makes it's because like with the way 3D works in a strategic matter, like going up and down is and being able to access the full 360 sphere there changes your entire tactical options. So it should
Yeah.
also make you easier to hit while you're up there. So yeah, if it's more of a, like it launches you in a direction, and if you want to change directions while in flight, that costs you expenditure too. You get a mechanic where like you could either launch yourself, just straight across a chasm, or if you wanted to like maneuver in flight, you're not going to get as far.
Hmm.
Like just basically, use physics and just generate it that way. And then wings could like the different that it gives you an option to make the different wearables have a lot more flavor instead of making it so like you're just stacking movement bonuses. Like the tracksuit might like a tracksuit versus wings. The difference might be the wings have more up and down power and less sideways power, and the tracksuit is better at the horizontal. So you can differentiate things that way without and that also helps you stop things from stacking to the moon. Where then if you have things that are weaker at the XY, weaker on the XY or the Z axis, you would have you can stack multiple wearables, and you're filling in the blanks there on your maneuverability, but you're not making something ridiculous that breaks the game.
Yeah. This will be phased in, I'm sure. The first phase will be more like we have right now, where you'll get benefits from the wearables to your stats. But yeah, eventually every wearable, the goal is to have some sort of unique trait for that wearable, but it's going to take a while. Still a lot of balancing left to do with that, and I'm sure it'll be phased in. But the team's goal right now is just to get something that's fun and that people enjoy coming back to and playing. That's the main goal. Just got to find the fun first, which I think
Mm-hmm.
we're getting. We've done a couple internal play tests, and it's been pretty fun. I've enjoyed it.
From the low clips I've seen, it looks like a lot of fun. I see Phantasma also saying for eye stats, maybe eye color. High eye color means lots of flight. Low eye color means faster or more precise flight. Interesting.
Hmm.
Oh, actually, yeah, no, you could do it right there. There's your XY. That could be
Yeah.
your eye color could be like you could just go straight up like how Gotchiverse has it with the zero is like 100%. If you've got the max score, you're getting 100% of your movement bonus, and then one could be the X, one could be the Y. You've got your up, down, and your sideways, and that gives a very valid reason for a dual myth to be awesome, because it's the only maneuverable one.
It would be a majestic flyer. It would be a majestic flyer. That's what it would be.
Yeah, and they would make it so each Gotchi has like a totally different play style. You might have a guy he's just slow as dirt, but he's got hops.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, lots of great ideas happening there. Do we have any friends working on something in the Voltron hackathon that they might want to share? I know I was talking to Alvi earlier in the week, and he usually can't make it for these hangouts, but uh, really smart guy. I think he's the one who also created Aavegotchi, the asteroid smashing mini game a while ago. So he's working on something pretty cool that is kind of reminiscent of the Pokemon battles, but with your gotchis. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of multiplayer experience that looks like. But yeah, curious to know if you guys have anything else out there.
Yeah, I'd love to hear an update from the Voltron guys. See here. Mikey J, I saw you were working on something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Boba says the way you can mix object and Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is just crazy. Totally. Like being able to mix and match all your gotchi wearables and have like a totally unique gotchi experience would be that's kind of the holy grail. Ooh, what is this? Chainmon.avegames.com. You know, I went to this the other day, but I was not able to actually, I guess, get a game because there was no one playing. But maybe now during the hangout, it says waiting for opponent. So someone come and play.
Okay.
See if let's take this baby for a test.
Let's do it.
What about Gotchi Guardians? We're talking a lot about Gotchiverse and the arena, but did anyone watch the update with Slama? Holy shit! Like that game is also coming along very, very well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I finally got into a match. Talk about that in a second here. Let me do my match with. Oh, I lost it. No. I finally got into a match with someone and then I got kicked out.
Dang it.
If you haven't already, go to YouTube. And let's see where it is here. Epic Gotchi Guardians gameplay. There's a lot of updates in this video. Just watching the actual gameplay, like I played it the other day and this was in a much earlier version and I was already like kind of hooked because I'm a sucker for tower defense games. I love me a good tower defense, but
The Pepe that he showed in there was hilarious.
Hey friend, how's it going?
Hey, GM. You know, I hate that the new Discord update doesn't show everybody's full name because I just see for Ernani, I just see E. Like, how am I supposed to know who that is? And then Coder Dan C.
oh really?
No
You have
future
to go
N.
you have to go because me and you are in streamer mode whenever we're streaming.
Ah, got
Go to
you.
streamer mode, and then there's like a button in the streamer mode setting to hide
Oh.
information. If you unclick it, you'll be able to see everybody's name.
Got you.
Hey,
Alright.
I'm in a game with you, Dan. You gonna go or who's first? I don't.
Oh, are you? I just quit. I lost one, so I ended it. But I think the game is that it's like almost rock paper scissors, but there's like an extra option. It seems like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I can't see anything though. Like I don't have I can hover over the 1, 2, 3, 4 on the back button, but nah. I'm assuming the green
Maybe
is
because I
where the
left my
anchor is.
match.
Let's see. There's one person left to stiff me here.
Yeah, you might have to rejoin because I closed it. Yeah, I'll rejoin.
Who's this guy? This guy here. You alive? You're also trolling me. You're not a real person either. Oh, this guy looks mean.
Waiting for
Clever.
I
opponent.
got someone. So what do you do? Is like I click 1, and my opponent is clicking something else, and like whoever's score is higher takes more damage or something. I keep losing.
I can't tell if the buttons do something. I think I'm losing because this guy's got the good hair.
Yeah, this is one of my client Gotchis. His name is Tupac, so this is one of those times. You know, Tupac is finally getting some vengeance.
Oh, is this gonna be the first and only time you kill me?
I mean, if you come into the arena now, that might be different. I'm running around with some OP Gotchis. Actually, I was calling you out on Orium Game Night. I was like, bring hardcore. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Because I stopped running.
Well, as you can see, I'm dressed for Gotchi heroes.
Yeah, this Gotchi looks good. You have the body. That's a mythical body, right? Wearable, the one you have, the
Yeah.
little pump threads.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
looking
this
good.
is a pure let's jack the energy to the moon build. Cause Gotchi heroes is you want the ag and the energy and kinship and eye color. If you don't have those four things, you should just like get a different Gotchi.
Hardcore, I think you're like the Gotchi trait specialist, because like I've had to come to you a few times and been like, yo, look at my Gotchis. I need them adjusted. I don't know what I'm doing.
It's like a chiropractor.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with these things, man. Help me out.
Gotchi chiropractor. That's a good one.
It's funny.
Yeah, it's not too hard to get crack out of Gotchis.
So I just dropped a little video from Gotchi Guardians here. This was in the YouTube video. This is a still. But any other? How many tower defense aficionados we got in the audience? I'm building this because I love tower defenses, and so does Slama. But curious, yeah, how many other people in the audience love TDs?
Oh
This is
man.
it's got a fun spin on a TD. It's not just a normal TD where you know the liquidators are actually not trying to get out. They're trying to kill you. So it's kind of a difference from a typical TD. Your goal is to actually keep your Aavegotchi alive. So you're gonna basically build the towers, and then you can lead the Gotchi around and fight, or just run away and let the towers do their thing. But there is a bonus for killing your liquidators earlier than your opponents. So there's going to be a lot of strategy in this game that Slum is cooking up. Already, I was like ready. I was hooked. Wanted to play more after this little demo. So playtest. We will be definitely getting the playtest fairly soon here.
Many hours were spent on Miniclip playing tower defense games.
Mikey J, I have the same question. What do the 4 buttons do? Because I felt like I almost won, but then I would lose every time.
Hey, Alvy,
Alvy.
GM.
Yo, man, how's your game work?
We're just talking about your what you're working on there. It's pretty cool, man. Just looking at hackathon projects in general. There's a lot going on.
Okay. Right now the 4 buttons do the same. I'm gonna add 4 different attacks. Nice.
Yeah.
So is it just random? The damage, is that random? Okay. 3 is OP. Nice. Well, we got a little bit of time here. Any fake gotchis that are going to be coming out soon before we get here into the DAO call in about 10 minutes? And I see Golden Cross has joined. Hey, sir.
GM.
Mind if I share a little bit of what I'm working on, Codeda?
Go for it, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Talk about the EIP.
Yeah, thanks for the little space. So this is a little more technical, I guess, but I'm gonna drop a tweet that hopefully helps everybody get in the same page. But yeah, hello everyone. For those who don't know, my name is Henny. I'm the founder of Onion Network, and I started to work on EIP 7432. It's a standard for Ethereum, and it can be a little complicated to understand at first, but it basically allows people to create roles for NFTs, which is something that I've been working for many years at this point across multiple projects, Pegaxi, Aavegotchi, Comet, and many other NFTs. So yeah, I wanted to share that with the community because I know that there are a lot of game developers here in the Aavegotchi ecosystem, and I think there could be, very good opportunities to incorporate that both to gameplay and to tokenomics as well. So yeah, I just dropped the tweet, and in a nutshell, the way that this works is you basically allow your users, your NFT owners, to create roles for your NFTs, and these roles can be assigned to different Ethereum accounts. So think like land parcels in Aavegotchi. Just like you can assign, channeling permissions to multiple scholars, you can use this EIP to do that, and you can potentially extend it to multiple other things, an arbitrary number of things. I like to use the example of digital real estate, where you have someone managing the property, and you can also have a bunch of people renting out the property, right? You can do all sort of different use cases with this EIP. So yeah, I just want to share that with everybody. If game developers are interested, I have very cool ideas on how to incorporate that to the game. And I also want to share that we are working on a proposal for Aavegotchi. I don't want to drop too much alpha right now, but hopefully I'll be able to share it on the next DAO call. So not today, next Saturday.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Very cool. So yeah, everyone go check out the Twitter thread there that goes into all the details on this new EIP. We at Aavegotchi, we do love our EIPs. So cool to see that a community member like Arnani is actually creating his own EIP.
Yeah, I actually have to thank a lot to Nick. He has been a super helpful
nice.
resource. He went through that with the Diamond Standard, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He gave me some very, very useful tips.
He went through
big brains on Aavegotchi.
Wait, so this is like second generation Gotchi Diamond EIP magic happening here, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it's associated to the Diamond Standard, but it's definitely something that I have seen the need in the Aavegotchi community, because we are basically creating all these different feature specifics to NFTs. For example, Aavegotchis, you can create a rental offer and someone can rent it out of the market. But land, you have whitelists and you have to assign them to different people. So it's basically a way of putting all of these together and make it scalable. So, for example, if the Aavegotchi protocol were to be using this today, and they launched Gotchi Guardians tomorrow, it would be pretty seamless, I would say, to include different roles to your Gotchi Guardian assets.
Hey, I don't know if this is feature creep or not, but the one thing I see that Web3 gaming needs, or well, just Web3 period needs in EIP is a way to where items can only be listed in one location one marketplace, like a marketplace flag, like this is listed, this is not listed, because none of this stuff works. Like there's
You're
no
talking about rentals or
with
like
well,
selling NFTs?
well, we do that with rentals and stuff, but yeah, with also selling NFTs, there's all these different NFT marketplaces, and well, it's simply knowing the status of the NFT. They need to be able to be locked in more ways,
Yeah,
like some sort of a
absolutely.
more detailed, like a quantum lock, you know, so that the
You
Gotchi
mean
can be
that?
off doing something, but it's also basically you need to extend lock from Gotchi into layer one.
When you say lock, what do you mean? Lock specific to functionality? You want to rent an NFT but not allow
Well,
them to do a specific action?
well, we lock a Gotchi when it's rented, so you can't take stuff on and off it, that sort of
Yeah,
thing. Or if I have it listed on the Aavegotchi marketplace, you can't have it on OpenSea.
yeah,
Or
absolutely.
even better, if it's listed on one and it sells, it notifies the others, and then the others take it down
Right.
immediately. There's got to be some, yeah, it's a quantum lock. Because if you need it to act the same in another place, you want your actions here to affect your actions elsewhere. And yeah, there you go.
Hernani, I'm sort of curious about the process of even getting an EIP published. I know Nick Mudge went through that, and now you're going through this process. Is it similar to how someone would put forward a proposal through Aavegotchi DAO? Are there like specific expectations? Like, do you have to have all the code ready to implement? Is it quite a complicated process to begin with? I'm sort of curious about that experience of getting EIP published.
No, it's not that complicated, and I would say that it's a little more centralized than a DAO proposal, if you
Got
will.
you. Okay. There's more
Yeah,
scrutiny.
yeah, you basically have a group of people that are called the EIP editors, so the Ethereum Improvement Proposals editors. And these people are responsible to essentially manage all the proposed improvements through a pipeline, right? And yeah, essentially you have to really define well what is standard or what change on the Ethereum protocol you want to do. You need to put that in the repository that they have on GitHub, the description, and they do that so they can centralize all the standards that they have accepted. You also have to provide a proposed implementation, so not only the description but also how do you think people should implement this? So you provide a reference implementation.
Hmm.
And last and probably most important, you need to be peer reviewed. So you're going to publish that. People are going to ask questions. Yeah, you're going to iterate on why did you make specific decisions on your design, and you have to be able to defend, in other words,
Right.
your implementation. And in the end, it's completely up to the EIP editors to accept your proposal or not.
Wow, that's yeah, it's quite a process there. Quite a bit of preparation that has to go into that before you find out if it's gonna make it on there or not. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I think that, just like in Aavegotchi, the community gives you feedback very early.
Yes, the
So
peer
if you're
review
doing
part is
something that,
key.
yes, if you're doing something that's not going to move forward, you're going to hear that very early, that brutal feedback quite in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean, people were kind of shitting on the diamond standard and still are to this day. Like three years into its life and with so many projects built around it, the peer review process can be pretty brutal, especially for
I'm
something
jealous.
as controversial.
Yeah, one of the things that we discussed a lot was the metadata for roles. So roles, they are stored on chain, but how do you know what a specific role represents? So let's say Aavegotchi has a role to play in the arena that you can essentially assign to someone else, and that person can play in the arena with your Aavegotchi. How do I know that those 0x those hexadecimal numbers, they represent that action. We basically opted for storing that type of description off-chain, combined with the NFT metadata, which is actually a good reference on how to do that, right? NFTs are already storing metadata off-chain, so we just added the raw metadata there. It's a different approach from storing the raw on-chain. I guess you can also store, the whole description of the role on chain. It's going to be more expensive. It's going to be more difficult to manage, but you can do that. And there are pros and cons to that. So on chain is definitely more centralized, but you also need to have specific actors in your ecosystem with the specific permissions to manage those roles, to create and destroy them, that sort of stuff. So you have people that are very passionate about that, right? You have people that are very passionate about decentralization, but you also have people that are very practical and they see that, hey, NFTs are using metadata already in this way, so it makes more sense to implement in this way. That type of stuff is always a polemic.
Yeah, very interesting. Thank you for sharing that and kind of giving some insights into what that process looks like. That's maybe there's some other Aavegotchi developers that are gonna also come up with some really interesting EIPs in the future. And so we got some really big brains in our community for sure.
And I see how that fits inside of that fits inside of what Yannick's doing with the guilds too, because that's the roles is a whole nother component. Like that is what the other thing that's missing in Web3 is essentially Active Directory. Like we've got the network, we can do transactions, but we don't have the rest of the network, which is roles, I guess. Yeah. Roles, groups, whatever you want to call them.
I should probably try to deep dive more into what Yannick is doing. I did read the proposal and vote it when it was live, but I'm not entirely sure how that's going to be applicable to the game when it goes live. Does anyone have more insight on that to share?
I think he's in the crowd. But yeah, and then on the other direction where your EIP needs to connect is to the proof of personhood. Because then if you have roles and proof of personhood, you could have roles across different ecosystems that are secure.
What is proof of personhood? How does that work? I'm not familiar with that. Sorry.
Well, there's a bunch of different technologies for it, but like we had governance DAO, wasn't it? That was the name of them. They had where it did a biometric scan, or I don't know. There's a whole like Polygon was trying to do a proof of personhood token.
Yeah, the only one that comes to mind is the futuristic WorldCoin that launched, but that's not Ethereum based, and it's way, I don't know. I feel it's a little invasive. That's my personal opinion. For you to prove your personhood, you have to scan their eyeballs, that sort of stuff. Definitely a big problem that we need to solve. But I don't think it's clear yet what the
Well, no, that's why
it
it just has to have the socket. It's got to be. It just has to be a place where that can attach. Because like I mean, Dan's got one. The cartridges. That's proof of person stripped down to, we're just going to identify you by your actions to be in this group. But
I'm actually curious on this subject right now.
Have a thing where you can remove a person.
I'm actually curious on that topic right now. Dan, do you have an opinion on WorldCoin?
I'm kind of like, I mean, obviously it's a very extreme thing. Who knows, man? I think it's too early to say. Who knows what their intentions are with it, and I just hope that the data is actually not being stored anywhere like they say it is, but it probably is.
I just hope they don't make me pay for ChatGPT with WorldCoin, because then I'm screwed.
Yeah, the founder is the same, right?
It's the same guy.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like,
It's
hey,
like
you want to be
he-
smarter? You got to scan your eyeball first.
Right.
Yeah,
I was
you're
like,
gonna
he has
start.
no equity in ChatGPT and OpenAI. So I was like, well, how is he going to become a billionaire? Oh, the WorldCoin. This is his play. So I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm bearish on it. I just don't like the overall idea of it, but see how it takes off.
Yeah, 100%.
And
There's a
I guess we
trade-off.
should pretty much wrap it up here with the Hangout guys, and we'll start getting into the DAO call. So yeah, great technical deep dive there on the EIP. It's very cool, and looking forward to updates on that next week.
Thanks for this space, everyone. I'm gonna drop now.
Awesome, friends. So this is the DAO call. Getting into the DAO call. Thank you for the recording. Yeah, we got a little bit. we got a little bit going on here today. It'll be a lighter call today, I feel. We might not go the whole hour, but we'll see. We tend to fill it out. We can start by going through some of the proposals. Carlo, have a good one. Yeah, that's right, Coder Dan. That's funny. Yeah, so the few things that we can talk about today. First of all, we have a conversation we should have about rarity farming. We tend to have it too late every time, and I think while rarity farming is going on and we're at the tail end of it here, we should talk about any changes we might want to make. I know one obvious one that's been well discussed is the rarity farming season opt-in, which I think we should, move towards a getting past the discussion stage to maybe someone can put together a proposal, or we can put together a proposal for that. But also discuss maybe if there's any other changes we might want to make for the future rarity farming seasons. No Futuristic and I were talking about it on Block Party last night, kind of looking at our just like the overall runway for rarity farming, and there's a few things we can do to either make it more interesting or last longer than right now. So there's that. Also, another group of friends that I was talking to earlier this week. The obvious change will be the Battler. Yeah, Phantasma. I think we should talk about that a little bit too, and see how, I'm personally curious how that's going to play a part in rarity farming, and if there's any developments around that. I was talking to the
Any update on the Battler?
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. Do we have any updates on the back? If Immaterial is in the audience, I know. Well, let's see if you're here.
I'm a couple of weeks, like meetings ago, we had a nice agenda going. I would love to try and bring that back if anyone wants to spearhead having actual agenda for this call instead of it just being kind of open call and lasting an hour.
Yeah, I think. Well, what I can do is we can have a thread. Like I'll have a forum thread going for the meetings, and then we can kind of put anybody who has something that they want to call, we can use that place to organize it. I think that would be a good way to do it. So Actually, let's do that. Unless there's a better way. Someone has a better way to do it, then we could do that. But yeah, the way we're right now is basically if you have to the DAO call, add you to the DAO. I think people aren't reaching. It's you for the DAO call here. It's that reached out from has a free interesting for the Gnosis safe and disbursements. To see immaterial in the audience here if you do.
I thought we're not gonna do like BD pitches. If they want to do a BD pitch, I'd prefer it to be during the. I don't think we should. We only have one every week for the. Don't think using it for targeted BD pitches is really the best use of everyone's time.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. I'll get
biz
them.
Dev.
Yeah, they biz dev. Yeah, they can post in the DAO forum. We can kick it off there. Yeah. All right. Let's start with the proposal review here, and then we'll get into it. All right. So we had a few proposals. We had one upgraded to core prop, and we had a couple come through from last week. So. We'll start with the ones that closed. So the Gotchi crawler demo proposal. This was a SIG prop for the Gotchi crawler by Oliver Spoon. Overwhelming support on that one. 11 million ghost. So 92% were in favor of, and then we have 7.1% that rejected the proposal. That one met quorum easily, and I believe that one's been upgraded to core prop now. So. Agip 89, Forge 2.0, new schematics, methodology, in godlike sets. So this one here is proposing 14 new schematics designed by the Forge team using Mikey J's methodology for trait selection, and proposing a four new 4-piece godlike sets to give all 16 Gotchi types access to the godlike tier of set. New godlikes maximally incorporate old and classic wearables. New godlikes maximally incorporate old and classic wearables. So this one has 9.7 million ghosts in favor of, 78%, and 2.7 million ghosts against, 21%, met quorum with 12 million ghost in support. Let's see, Agip 90, Geode's schematic distribution and final non-drop ticket raffle. So this is proposing that the Forge 2.0 schematic proposal with the 14 new schematics would be the last tiered ticket raffle. So you'd still be able to convert your friends into drop tickets and convert your unused common to godlike tickets to drop tickets. And we'll, hopefully there's a drop ticket raffle at some point in the future for something. So this will be the last raffle for tiered. 80% in favor of and 19% against, and we have 13 million ghost in support there. Then lastly, Agip 91 is a Gotchi. This is the only live proposal right now. Agip 91 Gotchi crawler demo proposal. And again, 89% in support, 10% saying reject, and then we have 6.3 million in support. So it hasn't reached quorum yet, but you still have 4 days to vote on this. So make sure you get your votes in. If you support this like you supported the SIG prop, get your votes in right away. And yeah, love to see it. I see Mikey J's on stage. Welcome.
Hey.
Hey, Jim.
So I posted about this briefly during last week's meeting. In case anyone missed it, this was part of the Forge 2.0 work. Was a lot of updates to the wearables.report site that was built last year. If you haven't seen it, it gives a lot of different stats about the wearables market and kind of can help the DAO sort of analyze what's happening in the wearables market and make decisions. So some of the updates that were released here was a dashboard of forging activity. So you can see forging over time, forging, smelting activity. You can see how much alloy is being burned and sent to the DAO. There's a smithing skill leaderboard there if you want to check out, how your Gotchi compares to other Gotchis. And then there's information about bazaar sale prices for forge items. In addition, there was also, because of changes introduced by the Forge, some of the wearables metrics got adjusted. For example, now at any given time, there might be a different circulating supply of a certain wearable as compared to its maximum theoretical supply. So you're able to see what the current, circulating supply of that wearable, that totally forged wearable is, and things like that. And then also the trait selection criteria, which I had presented a while back and was used on this last round of schematic trait selections. Those stats in terms of the trait balance are all there and all actively updated as well in the trait section. So yeah, a lot of new stuff there. Definitely, like if you're interested in geeking out on some numbers about the wearables market, go check it out. And it updates daily with new numbers automatically, and it takes into account about a year, the past year of data. So go check it out.
Awesome. Yeah. Amazing dashboard, sir.
Thanks.
The volume by wearable is really interesting to go through the different rarities. Some interesting ones, but that's definitely the one that jumps out at me. I'm like, that's pretty cool actually to track that. Yeah, impressive.
Same with the market cap by a wearable. Sergey Beard, OP.
Yeah.
Dang.
It could be a little misleading depending upon when the last, obviously it's just the last sale price. So some of these have really low volume, but it's actually the total wearables market cap is a really interesting kind of number. I used that number when we were first working on the Forge to sort of do an estimate based on what the total supply of alloy would be, locked up in wearables. And actually the alloy price, which is one of the most interesting things to me about what came out of this dashboard. If you look at under Forge, is it under alloy lock or is it under price? It's under price. You can see the alloy price for wearables has been very stable since the Forge launch. In fact, has been kind of creeping up. And that price was pretty accurately predicted by the wearables market cap. Like before we launched the Forge, took the wearables market cap and divided it by, all of the alloy, and then, made some assumptions about what the percentage of value would be attributed to alloy. It was actually a very accurate metric for predicting the price of alloy.
Did you have like a prediction of what the price of alloy would be when the Forge?
Yeah, I think my low was about 0.03 Ghost, and my high was about 0.05 Ghost or 0.06 Ghost or something like that. So it was definitely in the higher end of my range. The one thing, of course, we didn't know exactly how much value would be attributed to alloy versus schematics versus cores. And it probably ended up being a little bit on the higher end of that spectrum of what maybe I thought. But it was pretty close in terms of it was within the window of what we were expecting.
How about Essence price over time? Is that,
I think it's here under prices.
Yeah, I see. I'm looking at it now. It's kind of gone down by quite a bit because of all the gotchis being burned, right?
Yeah, I haven't looked at how many gotchis have been being burned, so I'm not sure if it's more like there's a lot out there, or there's not been a ton of pet schematics to this point, so there may not be a lot of demand for using Essence for forging pets. I think it would be great if over time, people in the DAO or people who are even building games found interesting use cases for Essence, because it can be an interesting kind of deflationary pressure for Gotchis.
Do we have the total supply of these listed anywhere?
Total
I
supply
guess that
of
would that
what?
be of like of alloy and essence, things like that.
No, actually, I don't think I have that in here. I guess, yeah, we could pretty easily calculate the total like
Be cool to see
maximum
some
supply.
charts.
What's that?
Like it'd be cool to see some charts of like the alloy over the last 6 months or essence over the last 6 months, just like you've done with the price. If we could see
Yeah.
like a chart.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Dang, you can see
And,
who the
yeah.
you can see who the top forgers are as well in the forge,
Yeah.
the smithing skill. Goobs is on the list. He's up there, top 10 forger over here.
Bearded feature scavenger Satoshi N. Oh wow. Agent Smith and Dendy with 100,000 points, towering over the competition.
Level 24 skill. Dang.
That's awesome.
Very cool tool, very interesting. Friends, go look at this. There's actually quite a bit of information to dig through here and some really interesting like tidbits. Like you could actually write like a really cool tweet thread on like Aavegotchi stats with this information actually. So just throwing that out there. Awesome.
Well, thank you for the report, sir. And
Yeah,
is
thanks,
this
guys.
a monthly update that you're doing? What's the cadence here?
This report updates automatically daily.
Well, I mean
So
as far as like your updates for when you usually push new changes,
changes to
like more new features. What you've been doing?
I mean, this is currently, I mean, like I said, this part was funded by the Forge 2.0 funding, these updates. I mean, if the community is interested and continue to have updates, I'm happy to look at it. I don't have like, you know, current, I don't have a further roadmap for this plan currently, but if, you know, people are interested in sort of having additional things added and, you know, I'm all ears.
Cool.
All right.
Aavegotchi says, I believe Forge to be deflationary. I cannot believe how many new cores and how many new schematics are being introduced. I don't think that's quite true. There are more schematics, but schematics are not by definition inflationary. And the cores are, I don't think we're getting any new cores for what Dr. Wagme and the Forge team are proposing for this new AGIP. Hardcore says Voltron is a great way to keep updates funded. Yeah, good point.
Mm-hmm.
Is anyone from the Voltron team around? I think we're kind of overdue for an update on how ThriveCoin has gone and the hackathon. Just a general DAO update for some of these proposals that were funded and would be good to see. We're in like the second season now or third season of ThriveCoin.
Yeah, the tab team, right? The tab team update.
Yeah, I guess a good time to reiterate that having someone, whether it's Hefe, someone in the DAO who is a little bit more order to these meetings would be appreciated if the DAO, you know, wants to fund something like that. So we're not just kind of having an hour of back and forth or open stage for the DAO. It'd be nice if we had agenda and someone to actually follow up each week on and say, okay, who can we bring that will bring value to the DAO call this week, or what proposals need to be discussed in more detail. So
yeah, I'm happy to continue. I was happy to continue doing that, but it was a lot of outreach, and honestly, it takes a lot of time. But I'm happy to kind of, even if we can get a collective effort, if nobody's being funded, if we could get, I don't mind, looking through the forum post every week, seeing what people would like on the DAO meeting and putting together a docket. That wouldn't take a whole lot of time for me. It's the outreach piece of, trying to put it together. If people make that little bit of effort and say, hey, this needs to be on the DAO call next week, throw it on the forum post. I'll get a forum post going, and then we can kind of put the docket together that way. But yeah, if no one's going to be funded for it, like it does take a significant amount of time to put those things together. Just reading the comments here.
I wanted to link, if Maxi Crouton is around, maybe can't come on the chat here, but he did drop a nice update for the DAO Treasury. Just drop the message here. Everyone go check out just a nice general update for July 2023, as he was voted by the DAO to become the DAO kind of official treasurer. So I'm just opening the doc here. And then the first Aavegotchi gave a nice summary saying we had 14.4 million ghost, 12.7 million DAI, 3.48 million USDC. That was July. And now in August, there's 15.16 million ghost, 12.65 million DAI, and around 2 million USDC. So the DAO has been steadily converting stable coins of DAI and USDC into Ghost, which will fund future rarity farming seasons or whatever initiatives the DAO chooses to pursue. So thank you, Maxi, for that. I believe it's a monthly report that he's been doing there. It's very useful. So if the DAO wants to do some sort of funding or grants program, I guess the point is there's quite a lot of ghosts that would be available to fund something like that. It just takes someone who has the initiative to want to pursue that, organizing that, handling the grants, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Are you thinking, when you say that, are you thinking more like a single person or having a few people or a committee? Like, what, like way?
Well, we talked about it a little bit last week about sub DAOs. So if it's event based, it could be an events sub DAO that asks for funding from the DAO itself and then manages it itself internally. Or we could do a more back to the DTF 2.0 approach where ideally it's a team of a couple community members that are kind of multidisciplinary and have expertise in a couple different areas so that they could review grants, do due diligence on teams, and follow up with those teams after they've been awarded the grant, and then come back to the DAO and present on how things are going.
Mm-hmm.
I just see there's a lot of potential in this DAO, but doesn't seem like really anyone in the community at the moment wants to step up and actually get that initiative restarted, because it's a lot of work, and there have been a couple instances where the DAO kind of shot down proposals similar, but maybe for good reason or for lack of understanding of the proposal or various reasons. But doesn't mean that there's no possibility of the DAO getting something like that funded, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd love to see some other. We did have some people who were interested in hosting the meetings. So, there could be another way to get some new hosts in the meetings, but also getting people behind that maybe don't want to host the meetings, but behind getting the schedule together, or just there's a few different moving parts, right? Like even the Spotify upload. If someone just wanted to record the audio, you can kick it over and we can get it up on the Spotify archive. Like there's little things that even if you don't want to host the meeting, that would be really helpful for sure. Al has an update, I think. Hackathon appears to be going well from both the Thrive and Dev perspective. We have 10 MVPs submitted with all some really interesting concepts and ideas. There are 2 meetings a week that are incentivized for devs participating and people who want to listen, take notes, or be active in some of the discussion. From a tab angle, we're working to ensure the hackathon gets proper visibility towards the end with some sort of showcase. At the end competition to show off the great products being made on socials and organizing the final rewards and trying to have at least one Thrive member at each hackathon so we can be in coordination. I would like to explore Thrive in the future or something like that. It can automate these governance pathways. That way, upfront work can be rewarded incrementally with contributions.
Mikey J has an interesting point about Voltron, saying that it could be spun off and separate from Thrive. Is that just because of the operational overhead of Thrive Coin?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, but I think the weird thing about the Thank Aavegotchi is, to me, it's like the cost model is a little bit strange. 20% of that budget going to software, which I also understand has come with like a team that has been very integrated and helpful, and that's great. But yeah, it seems like the Voltron Hackathon is a lot of what I think are people really volunteering their time to kind of pull it together and make it happen with not a lot of funding. And that seems to be like a lion's share or a big share of the Thank Aavegotchi budget sort of being directed in that way, but with not a lot of value being added by the Thrive software. So it just seems like to me like the Thrive software is like excels at these type of automated micro payments that you have to make out, and doesn't bring that much value, at least from a software perspective, to these type of things that need to be more manually reviewed and require more people power than automation.
Yeah, I
mean, I'd love to hear from anyone who's more involved with Thank Aavegotchi. What do they view as the value that it's brought to Aavegotchi? So if you go on their site, it says we've had about total of 3,000 contributors to this community, which seems pretty nice. But you got to drill down and see what the actual contributions are.
Yeah, I think one question we have to ask is like what contributions has it incentivized that wouldn't have happened otherwise? Which isn't the only consideration, because sometimes it's just nice to reward people for just continuing to be involved. But I think that's an important question, to just to be asking ourselves. But I think just the fact that it has spawned the Voltron Hackathon, and maybe that's an idea that wouldn't have happened without it. There's definitely a lot of value in that. But I think like if you're looking forward and saying, okay, how can we make the Voltron Hackathon an ongoing thing and bigger? It doesn't make sense to have 20% of that budget go towards a software tool that does not bring any value directly to that. Whereas if we spin it off into its own thing, then maybe that kind of budget, that type of administrative overhead could go directly to some of the people who are putting in the hard work to kind of make it happen.
Yeah. Coda Dan also makes a good point with the, hearing from the Tab team, because I'd love to know, because I know there's a member from Thrive that sits at the Tab meetings, if that is if that's like a really valued part of the process, having the person there guiding everybody through. Like I know there has to be leadership with these groups, and I wonder if there's some sort of leadership there as well, because that could be value that we're not taking into account. We have Thrive Giraffe on stage. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going? I was just told to jump in, so I don't have context about what the conversation is. But I'm happy if somebody can give me, 20-second TLDR, I'm happy to respond.
We're just kind of like talking through how Thank Aavegotchi has gone now that we're in the second season, and there was some talk about the Voltron hackathon and the value that that is bringing so far. So yeah, just kind of a general discussion of how things are going with Thank Aavegotchi. Give the community kind of an update on how things are going in season 2 and any further plans that the Tab team has.
Yeah, great. That sounds and what was at least the on-stage assessment that might be? I'm happy to share my assessment as well. But what was the on-stage assessment of how things are going?
Well, I just mentioned that there have been around 3,000 contributors total, which is a nice number. Obviously, if you actually look at the contributors, a lot of those do appear to be kind of probably low value accounts, maybe potential airdrop hunters and things like that.
Sure.
Especially with season 2, which I believe is rewarding ghosts directly, which is kind of one thing I was worried about, like that would attract a certain number of airdrop hunters. So beyond that, kind of just general plans for continuing to season 3 and any plans that the team has.
Yeah, I'm happy to sort of give. Would it be worthwhile or valuable for me to take a step back and share my own view of it, and then maybe give you a sense of where I think we're going, and
Yeah, sure.
based on conversations with the board at all? Great. So first of all, it's been really meaningful for us to work and collaborate with the Aavegotchi community. I mean, as we've talked about before, there's really deep vision and values alignments, and whenever that's the case, I mean that is, from my perspective, the most important thing for good work to happen. Second, just a recap of sort of the way that we framed this whole thing. We framed this as effectively kind of like a potentially double pilot, right? Initially, it was supposed to be 6 straight months, which is usually what we do with communities. But the way we framed it is we do this 3-month pilot, and then we would reapply for kind of the second half of a pilot. Basically, we'd put something back up on Snapshot to do that. And we also, in the process, kind of cut the price of the thing in half. So the first piece that I was pretty proud about is there's a lot of tech that goes into it, and a lot of work. The board has probably talked about that before, but a lot of work to just kind of get this stuff up. And we sort of won the snapshot vote, and 2 weeks later we were live. And just doing that, it was like all hands on deck to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of the core of the technology, for those who don't remember, what it does is it allows for scale through automation, through addressing bots and bad actors, and through making sure that all contribution activity is on chain. We auto validate all the contributions that are available. We auto reward them with Ghost, actually, frankly, different types of rewards, and then we auto record a receipt on chain. And what was really unique about this pilot is, in addition to kind of the speed, it was that we would have these 3 different seasons, each of which had a different reward mechanism. So the first, being the raffle, the second, direct distribution, which I totally get why there would be some worries about airdrop hunters there, and then the third, which I'm really excited about, rarity fund. So that's sort of the context around it. And generally speaking, my assessment, it sounds like, is pretty similar to yours. Like, one, thousands of people have made over 10,000 contributions, and if you look at sort of the spread of those contributions, it looks a lot like a typical marketing or engagement funnel. Like, there's a lot of, at the top, what I think most people would call low value contributions, but it funnels down to some extremely high value contributions, and you can see that kind of with with Voltron Hackathon. So, over 10,000 contributions. We just got up 5 new ways to contribute, and that'll continue to grow on a monthly basis. So in addition to testing these rewards, you'll see new ways to contribute that are also automated that are going up. Season 2, it was really important for the board to kind of demonstrate some real value creation, like real value creation. And so they focused on, a lot of people don't know this, Voltron Hackathon, what we learned is what we should have called it was Voltron Hackathon by Thank Aavegotchi, because it was actually Thank Aavegotchi that conceived the hackathon and is funding the hackathon and all of those things. And what I learned recently is some people didn't even know that because we just called it Voltron Hackathon. But of course, what's pretty cool is that there are 11 MVPs with Voltron Hackathon. Some really cool stuff, like a game that, that it seems apparently battles have already happened, and and some other, really great core infrastructure. So the focus of season 2 was, obviously on builders. And, my understanding in conversations with the board is that as we go forward to season 3, the focus is going to be on kind of pulling together all sides of the Aavegotchi community that they haven't been able to focus on. So one is going to be putting a governance path together, like a very explicit governance path. So rewarding people for engaging more and more meaningful activities that reinforce great governance activity in the DAO. And they want to sort of reinforce and touch and lift up people who are involved in media at all. And you'll also see more of a focus on what internally at ThriveCoin we call paths, which is really understanding how sets of activities, sets of what we call contributions, move people from, like being excited but not knowing how they can contribute, to really being, just like with Voltron Hackathon, deep, meaningful contributors to the DAO. And of course, season 3 is about rarity farming. So the orientation is going to be the rarity farming orientation. I know that members of the board and I have been looking forward to that a lot, because at least conceptually, like theoretically, it seems to perfectly match with of testing each of these 3 reward systems, and this was in the proposal as well, is that if the Aavegotchi community says, hey, let's do another round of this pilot, then we'll do another round with whatever the rewards distribution mechanism that is kind of most desired. It'll only be that. And then we'll do another 3 months with that. We'll see how that grows. And from there, hopefully longer term kind of magic and utility and efficiency and value.
Is there a way to see for each season how many of each of the different contributions have been completed? Like I see, for example, make a deep dive Twitter thread about an active. Is there a way to see how many times that has actually been completed, not by myself, but by everyone that's participating?
Yeah, we actually recently published season 1 data in one of those threads. I'm literally on my phone. I was
okay, I see that. But there's no way to see that on. I see the post now. Yeah.
There you go. And then you'll see season. We'll share season data soon. And the way that we're going to start framing, because we're actually building out a dashboard internally, we'll start framing that stuff again as almost like you could almost think of it as like a marketing funnel, right? So like the value of low value contributions is that they get people into the funnel. And just like why do businesses pay for Google ads? even though they have a 1 to 2% conversion rate to purchase. Why
Yeah.
are they paying for every click? The reason is because that purchase is really, really valuable. And they understand that not everybody at the top of the funnel, in fact, the vast majority of people, even at the top of the funnel, aren't going to make a purchase, but it doesn't matter because they've got to get people in the funnel to create value. Communities, need to think about sort of creating value the same way. We need a lot of community members to be connected to Aavegotchi and to understand that they can create value in all kinds of different ways. And if we get that, then we'll have enough community members creating the value that we desire to see greater efficiency, greater utility, et cetera.
Yeah, I think that's well said. There was maybe you're not aware or not the person to ask, but there was. It seems like that season 2 was extended by a month. Could maybe someone from the tab team or yourself kind of give the community an update on why that was done?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. And I am aware, and I can speak to it. So, look, the TLDR is it was a sub-optimization. And the reason that it was done is because the focus of season 2, was even from the beginning supposed to be on this Voltron hackathon concept. And as we built it out, some things got built out, in the domain of the Thank Aavegotchi board, and some things got built out in the domain. The Voltron hackathon took on a life of its own. I mean, some people, probably people in here, I just can't see it because my phone is to my ear right now, really stepped up and helped make it what it is. And it's something that we're really proud about and grateful for. But there were certain, sets of decisions that were slightly discontinuous with each other. Like, for example, the Voltron hackathon was going to be rewarded and is going to be rewarded with direct distributions. And it's going to be rewarded from season 2. But the problem is that the MVPs in Voltron hackathon are due to be finished at the end of August. And season 2 initially was due to be finished at the end of July. And so the sub-optimization was, we had to figure out, like, we wanted to, as best as possible, be in line with kind of the heart of the proposal. And we had 2 choices. Like, choice number 1 was to keep season 2 exactly a month. And if we kept season 2 exactly a month, it would mess up all of the promised rewards for Voltron hackathon because we couldn't do direct distribution. It would then be rarity farming, and the rewards for season 2 that were supposed to go to Voltron couldn't go. And of course, on the other side, if we extended it by a month, there are other issues connected to that. Some people were hoping to get their ghost earlier, et cetera, et cetera. At the end of the day, the board decided that the best sub-optimization was to make that extension. And it's learning, would we have preferred it didn't happen? Yes. And anybody who was affected, personally, please know that I'm sorry. And at the same time, please know that, like, a big part of pilots, right, is trying stuff. And we went really big. Like, we're trying to do some really big things in a very short amount of time. We've succeeded, I think, at a bunch of them. And, getting this right, we didn't get it entirely right.
Yeah, thanks for that explanation. I think that makes a lot of sense. Are there any plans to add so I see the stats here from that were posted for season 1. Are there any plans to add the number of contributions per per ways to contribute on the site, or is that's something that will be coming a little bit later? That would be really nice to know, like, in real time, what how active some of these contributions are.
I just want to make sure I understand the question. Is the question like to add more contributions, or is it?
No, like to see how many completions there have been
Oh, yeah.
on overall. Not, I don't want to just see mine. It would be cool to see how many tasks have been completed for each of the different contribution types overall, like in a season.
Yeah, for sure. So we have all that data, and internally, like it's currently in sort of a design sprint, and then it'll go to development sprint as sort of the building of a public dashboard so that communities
Right.
can really be able to see and filter and so on and so forth all of that data. We just don't have it now. So what we'll do is, now that we understand that it's a pretty clear desire, we've gotten that ask a couple times from the community, and frankly, we've gotten it from other communities too. We'll get you that data. It'll just be a manual process, and then we can publish it in in one of the threads. Sorry, that's my 1-year-old. Likely in the ThriveCoin thread in Discord, and then fast forward a month, and definitely less than 2 months, that dashboard will be up, and
Okay.
you'll be able to use it.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds great. That's all the questions I have for the Thrive team at the moment.
Cool. Yeah. Last thing, I mean, we're really, I really feel blessed to kind of be in this moment in time and in this space. I mean, I believe strongly that the future of Web3 depends on our ability to, at scale, reward people for the work that they do and leverage the blockchain in the process, meaning put stuff on chain and make it transparent. And we're getting to work with great communities. We support Optimism and ApeCoin and all these like really wonderful communities. There is deep vision and values alignment with what you're doing with Aavegotchi, and I hope very much that this is still just the beginning, because we're very much just getting started.
Nice. All right. Thank you, sir.
Cool. Thank you. Glad that I could come up. And also for anybody else in the audience, if you have any questions, I Thrive Giraffe, but my Discord handle is ThriveCoin. My personal Twitter is Thrive Giraffe. You can also email me at daniel@thrivecoin.com. And whether it's me or anybody else on the board, we're very, very available. And please just reach out directly, or if you want me to speak in, in public in any way, just let me know and I'll be there as well.
Nice. Well, almost at the end of the call here, guys. Any closing thoughts for what we should talk about next week, or any closing thoughts for this week's meeting?
Closing thoughts. I just want to put this out there, just reviving an old thread from January that I think we should keep an eye on this week, and maybe come to some sort of a conclusion by next week on what we want to do next as a DAO. Immaterial put this out for requiring opt-in for rarity farming. I mentioned it earlier in the call. Is this something we want to do for next rarity farming season? If so, then maybe we should try and work towards a proposal or some sort of a signal proposal to signal this. The idea here is basically to have an opt-in period 1 month before the start of rarity farming season. It would be the word would be sent out through our channels, multiple different channels. Any Gotchi whose address hasn't registered for the during the opt-in period won't get the rewards sent to them, and then any rewards that are saved are returned to the DAO. And it's just a way to lengthen the runway for rarity farming season. Curious to know if there are any comments on this right now in the audience, if somebody feels a certain way about this or disagrees with this, more importantly. But Kodajan, like you're saying, other than that, I think just to have a place to discuss the scheduling for the DAO call, I will open up a forum post, and we'll use that forum post to kind of assemble the weekly schedule for the DAO call.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds good. It'd be great to have some form of agenda and a general sense of knowing what we want to talk about
Yeah,
each week. I think that's kind of the bare minimum for a collaborative DAO call.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Just reading here. I would just give a higher percentage of their rewards to people who opt in than giving it back to the DAO. Okay, interesting time. Choina, if Gotchi Chain will be live prior to Rarity Farming Season 7, when we need to actively migrate our Gotchis to be eligible for rewards, that could be the opt-in.
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible, depending on Polygon and ours timeline, and also when the next Rarity Farming season is scheduled to happen. It could be possible.
Mm-hmm. Again, foreign Gotchi echoing. Funds shouldn't be returned, but given to active Gotchi owners. I think Crypto Gotchi saying the opposite. I think funds should be returned to the DAO so we can keep having Rarity Farming season for longer, which I sort of agree with that one, actually. In my mind, that was kind of the reasoning behind doing it. But I can also agree with, I can also see why someone would want high rewards, of course. Ecosystem complexity is an already high barrier to entry. One potential con of an opt-in from Dr. Wagme. Opt-in is that we're introducing yet another barrier. And a hot curly fry saying maybe split on the savings. So maybe the rewards would be a little higher for everybody. And then the DAO kind of gets a little bit more from that as well. Choina actually has an interesting comment from the original thread that I'm just going to quickly read, if you don't mind me sharing it. I'm pretty sure I like the proposal. I mean, there's passive and then there's neglective. In my honest opinion, a passive investment requires very little contribution, but as with all investments, some casual diligence is usually required. Any investor who totally neglects their investment and just hopes it all runs as it should is not really taking responsibility for their own assets. I know from this experience, as I've neglected many pools and farms in blockchain space myself, only to check on my passive investment to find the pool has closed months ago without any correspondence. Pixelcraft uses many forms of media to make announcements for Rarity Farming well in advance of the first snapshot: email, newsletter, Discord, Twitter, Reddit. If I had reasonable investment in a project, I would at least have a notification set for one of them. Let's see what people think about that. And I guess it would be like signing an on-chain transaction, essentially signaling your interest in participating in Rarity Farming. Crypto Green, raffle it. Yeah, we could raffle just about anything, really. Awkward AI. What about splitting the difference? I believe Foreign said something similar. Remaining ghost half could go back to the DAO, and other half could be distributed among the community, perhaps with a different incentive. Yeah, you can get pretty creative around this idea. I mean, the base idea would be to be a little bit more fiscally responsible, because I know there's probably a significant amount of rewards that get distributed to people unknowingly, like passively, but, going back to Choina's comment there.
I just say,
oh, yeah,
I'm writing the comment here. Every time the DAO votes on some of these major changes to existing infra, it does have a dev cost, as we've seen with the kinship burning. We had all sorts of subgraph issues that we had to deal with, because updating like a legacy system like Gotchi lending was should have been easy, but because of the additional parameter of allowing people to choose channeling, that did take a lot of extra dev effort. So just want the DAO to be mindful of things like that, and whenever the DAO votes on things that are kind of changes to existing infra, it also does bring not a non insignificant amount of dev work and testing and support that we have to deal with, that does take away from other initiatives, such as like the Aavegotchi DApp v2. Our devs were dealing with the changes that we had to make to Aavegotchi lending rather than focusing on other features. So limited. Our team is strong, but we are limited in what we can focus on. So yeah, just pointing that out.
Well, and it is one of the more important points to make, especially with everything going on right now. There's a lot of really cool features that are being worked on for the future of for the future of Aavegotchi. And so I think that's definitely something to be mindful of. One of the more important points to make for sure. Do you see any of this work being taken up by the DAO, or is this something that?
Yeah, actually, I do. The V2 is very, very close to being open sourced, and I think there's definitely we're definitely going to figure out a way to allow for community members to get involved with the development of V2, so that we can really speed things along much faster. Obviously, it does require a lot of review from our side to ensure that the PRs that make it to production are good, but it's definitely a high priority on our list to open source V2 and allow community contributions to a UI. So, for example, if the DAO voted to make this change, then the DAO should also probably include a budget for some community members to come in and update the V2 UI to support the change, so that all we need to do on Pixelcraft side is review the change and accept it.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really good, and probably makes things like this a lot more possible. We do have a pretty good dev community and some really talented, trusted members. So that could be one way to actually do something like this. Yeah, people saying thank you, Pixelcraft, for the continuous hard work and commitment to the protocol. Or relentless. Yeah, absolutely. People saying focus on building games.
I totally agree with Space Invaders. I mean, that's what's really going to attract a lot of new players to this ecosystem. Just already from the gameplay we've shown with Arena and Gotchi Guardians, I think even Gotchi Guardians has not been given enough spotlight yet, but soon. There's all sorts of crypto influencers out there saying, like, where are the games? Show me the games. And actually having some working games that look amazing and have good gameplay loops is going to be huge for the next 12 months as crypto comes back alive.
Yeah, truth, real words right there.
Anyway, friends, I gotta get off here. We're pretty much at the hour, so I'm gonna jump off. But thanks everyone for coming, and I'm gonna hop off. But feel free to keep going after this if you'd like.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Stay awesome, everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Peace.
Yeah. Peace out. Yeah, Phantasma making a good point. 20k ghost in the pockets of a Gotchi. Form of a ghost burn, though. It's like a Satoshi situation. Locked forever.